Hello, I am here today with Lana Leyderman, the author of Noble Savage. Lana, welcome.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Awesome. First of all, I want to talk with you about your life as an author. So tell me, does writing exhaust you or energize you?
It is both, actually. It is exhausting and energizing. It is energizing because it's something that I absolutely love doing, but it's exhausting because I just want it to flow and be perfect in every way. But we all know as writers that does not happen and requires a lot of work.
Right, right. Was there an early experience in your life when you learned that language has power?
Yes, I in the former Soviet Union, and when I came to this wonderful country, I spoke no word of English. And just being around other kids in school and not understanding what they were saying and watching them have fun around me, that was really the first experience where I remembered that language is very, very important, both spoken and written.
Wow. So how did you overcome that? I mean, obviously you learned English, but how did that happen?
Well, you just have to do it, right? You have no choice. And it's a lot easier because you're around English speaking people day in and day out. I also believe as a child, learning the language process, learning reading, learning writing is a lot more difficult, is a lot easier actually, and more difficult as an adult. For
Right.
example, for my writing process, I am a technical writer. And then one day I decided I wanted to write fiction. Just switching gears from technical to just writing anything imaginary on paper, that was, again, also I found quite a challenge. And I still do. I still sometimes struggle with it because it's not an exact science. I just think, oh my gosh, how am I in the world am I doing this?
Wow. Okay. So is there an author that you truly admire?
There is actually J.K. Rowling. I mean, I think everyone truly admires her just because of her life story, her background, how she fought for everything she had, started with nothing. This gives us all a very big lesson when I know we're all busy and maybe we all started from other places, having full-time jobs and trying to write our books. And we don't have time, we can just think of other people who've had even less time and less resources than us and still made such a huge impact.
Wow. That's very good. So tell me, does your book require any research in producing it?
It does. My book is about, it's about a time during the financial crisis of 2009, about two families, one noble, one savage, that whereby owns their own hedge fund, and they are desperately trying to save it and get through the financial hardships. It's also a love story. Now, although I've worked in investment banking for over 20 years, I still have to go back and remind myself and research of all the things that happened in 2008 so I could put it into my fiction.
Wow. Very good. Very good. So tell me, Lana, what does literary success look like for you?
Literary success for me looks like my book being finally finished and published. It's actually a trilogy of books that I'm writing, so I hope to publish all three of them. And then just, being able to go around the country, book signings, and have more than two people show up. Where I can just enjoy the process of people knowing my book and actually people telling me that they've really enjoyed it and I could entertain them for a few hours. That would be very exciting for me.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk about Noble Savage. You said that it's going to be the first part of a trilogy, and that it's about these two families in particular in this time. Tell me a little bit more. Tell me how you came to write this. What's the backstory behind your book?
Well, this is quite funny because I'm writing about that time, and actually I was laid off at that time from my job in investment banking. So this book has been germinating in my mind for quite a while. I don't think I've ever had the guts to just say, okay, to become a writer and do it. But during that crisis, a lot of people in investment banking were laid off, through no fault of their own. Banks were just downsizing. And a bunch of us, my friends and I, after we got laid off, we went to have lunch, and we just thought, oh my gosh, it's never going to come back. What are we going to do with the rest of our lives? Of course, everything came back to normal, etc. However, just went around the table saying, okay, well, what would we do else? People were making up things. So I don't know why it came into my mind. I don't know what put the message in my head. As I said, I'm a technical writer. I said, I'm going to become a fiction writer. And people looked at me and went, what are you going to write about? And I honestly don't know what came into my head. I said, I'm going to write about families who own hedge funds, who survived this horrible time we're all in. And my friends just laughed. I laughed as well, because come on, But then, I went home that night, and I don't know why. It's just, you get something in your head and you can't let go of it. It's almost like it was meant to be. I just kept thinking about it and what would I write about. And then these two families came into my mind, and then the characters came into my mind, and then somewhat of a story. It just on a daily basis, because I wasn't working, I had a lot. I mean, I was looking for a job, but then you have a lot of free time as well. And it was just, the story just kept flowing through nothing I did. It just, when I let my mind go, it just kept coming to me, which I thought was quite strange because, again, I'm a very technical writer. I deal with facts and math. So this for me was a very strange experience, which is actually why it's taking me so long to get it going.
Wow. Wow. You got to love it when that happens, though.
Divine inspiration.
Yes, exactly. It's almost like the characters, like they've been sitting on the outskirts and they start coming into your vision.
Absolutely. I hear authors being interviewed and they speak about that. And I used to think, oh, what are they talking about? The characters are talking to them. It's so true. If you get an idea that you're meant to write, the characters do start talking to you.
Yes. And they determine the path of the story.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Absolutely correct.
Right. So, so you said you are still in the writing stages.
I'm still in the writing stages. I joined Carrie's wonderful team, and I'm going through all the mission statements, and I am also, revising my writing, because I do have a lot written down, but it's not in any, it's all my thoughts. So now I'm putting it together into a book that actually flows.
Okay. And you're talking about Carrie Oberbrunner's Author Academy Elite.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Just make that clear, because not everybody watching is going to be a part of that group.
Absolutely.
Okay. Though they should be if they're writers.
Absolutely. 100% agreed.
Okay. So as you were writing this, or as you are writing this, who is the person, who is that one particular reader that you have in mind that your book is for?
Well, I would love everyone to read my book, because it's a love story. It's a story about family. It's a story about struggle, financial struggle, which I think everyone can understand. But I think the people that maybe I first was thinking about was all my friends that I've met over the years in investment banking. They would understand every single thing, because they've lived it.
Right. And maybe some of them did not handle everything well.
Some of them did not, unfortunately.
Well, and so, it could be such a great read for them. I'm thinking it would be such a great read for them, because if they've had strained relationships, or they've had, whatever issues that go back to that time, then they might have a way to change that and to make reconciliation and grow from. Oh, that would be so awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, they could think about it slightly differently, things, or maybe remind themselves of something. It would make them laugh, perhaps, because we all went through the same thing. Those were very difficult 2 years.
Yes. Okay. So tell me, what do you hope? I mean, we've touched on it briefly, but what do you hope that your book achieves in the lives of your readers?
I really hope, my books are fiction, so I really hope my books, first of all, entertain people and get them to laugh or feel the love of the love story, or maybe even learn something about investment banking. Also, I just really want to point out that investment banking usually is, we watch movies like Leonardo DiCaprio, people steal, cheat, lie, etc. And they're painted in a very, very bad light, if you will. I want to say that's really 1% of the people who work in investment banking. I have worked in it for over 20 years, and most of the people I have ever come across are wonderful. They're not loaded rich, they're not stealing, they're just trying to pay their mortgage like everybody else, and they have families, friends, and each other at work. So maybe this could be a hope, a book that also makes people not think that everyone who works in the finance industry is a terrible person, which they are absolutely not.
Wow. Wow. Lofty goals there, girl. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time out to visit with me and to share about your book. And I can't wait until it's published so we can just tell the world, hey, come and get it. Now you know more about it, and, be waiting for it. It's happening. Of course, you know that this also puts you kind of on a timeline. People are going to be wanting this book, so you're going to have to get it finished and get it out there.
I love that. Thank you so much for interviewing me, and thank you so much for your support.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.